union son. Son, I'm proud to be a union son. Oh, yes, I am, son. I'm proud to be a union, proud to be a union son.
Well, Phil Cleary with you again for the Union Show on Channel 31. Great to have you with us. Standing here in front of the 8-hour-day monument, as you can see, and we thought this was the right kind of symbol and backdrop for tonight's program. Tonight we want to talk about 457 visas, temporary work permits. Australia was built on migrant labour. If you go down the road here to the Melbourne jail, you'll find, if you look at the records, that all those people came from other countries too and spent their time locked up, being shipped around the world, but to Australia in particular by the British Empire. Wasn't a very nice place, and they went out and ploughed the fields and kept Victoria and Australia going. But what about these temporary visas that the federal government loves so much? Do they liberate workers? Are they good for workers in other countries? Or are they really about exploiting so-called skill shortages in Australia for the interest of bosses? Well, we talked to a couple of people tonight who know something about this. They've studied the federal government's inquiry into the work visas, and they've come up with some strong criticisms. Alison Tate is the ACTU's international officer, and Michelle Bissett is the ACTU's migrant worker officer. They both followed the federal government's inquiry into the visa system, and this is what they had to say.
The terms of reference for the recent 457 visa inquiry basically went to generally bureaucratic processes. So the terms of reference asked the inquiry to look into the eligibility requirements for 457 visa holders and the effectiveness of the monitoring arrangements that they have in place.
What were the outcomes?
Well, the outcomes of the inquiry were relatively limited, but limited very much because of the terms of reference that had been set. So the general recommendations made in the report went to process issues, so the way in which the monitoring is carried out, how broadly accessible the outcomes of monitoring are from the Department of Immigration. The recommendations went to putting in place processes to constantly review the skilled shortage list, which is the list that determines what jobs are open for 457 visa holders. So the outcomes of the report were very limited by, clearly, the terms of reference. In that respect, they're not surprising. What's concerning about the report, though, is that what it failed to look at was really what's happening to 457 visa holders in the workplace today. They didn't seem to go into too much detail about the sorts of issues that we know are occurring in workplaces with 457 visa holders. It was more about the department putting in place better guidelines for monitoring, undertaking better monitoring and reporting more on the monitoring. So it was really about the departmental processes that are in place. Certainly, what should come from the report, if its recommendations are accepted, one hopes is better resourcing into the monitoring areas for 457 visa holders, and that should pick up some of the abuses that occur to 457 visa holders, but it's always hard to tell with sort of such general recommendations being made.
Do you think the terms of reference of the report were adequate?
I don't think the terms of reference actually gave the committee the capacity to look at some of the underlying issues in Australia that have led to such a growth in the use of 457 visa holders. The issues that are relevant and important in Australia today really go to the skills that exist within Australia, our capacity and our willingness to participate or have proper and appropriate training put in place, a willingness of government to undertake proper labour market programs, and associated with that, of course, the question of industry planning. It seems to me that temporary skilled migration, and hence this report, are just a small part of the broad economic picture of Australia, and trying to look at just some of these process issues around 457s doesn't start to address the underlying issues and the cause of the use of 457 visas.